Getting dunked on probably has to be the worst feeling for any basketball player out there. In some cases, the dunk is so nasty and traumatic for the opponent that fans actually hang up pictures of the remarkable moment in their rooms. We've seen some spectacular throwdowns over the years, and in today's video, we're going to count down some of the most memorable NBA dunks of all time.
But first, a reminder about our brand new giveaway. We're giving away a PS5 with a copy of NBA 2K22 and Madden 22. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple.
First up, talk about airtime. Now, Derrick Rose isn't exactly the tallest basketball player out there. The 33-year-old point guard is only 6 feet 2 inches, which is tiny if we're talking about NBA standards. In fact, most basketball players are easily 7 feet tall, towering over the average human being. So you can sort of imagine why Derrick Rose dunking the basketball must be such a big deal. The dunk we're talking about was back in 2010 during his time with the Chicago Bulls. Derrick was on a breakaway and only had to fend off one defender to find an easy opening to the basket. But instead of laying it in, Rose shocks the entire arena by leaping like 2 feet into the air and throwing a devastating dunk on Goran Dragic. But instead of laying it in, Rose shocks the entire arena by leaping like 2 feet in the air and throwing a devastating dunk on Goran Dragic. We're not gonna lie, it felt like he was in the air for a good 3 or 4 seconds. It wasn't exactly the flashiest of dunks, but just the way he did it and the reception he got made it so much more memorable. Also, you gotta feel for Goran. Like us, he probably expected Rose to lay it in, but what do you know? The little man shocks every single person in the arena with a monstrous slam dunk. Next, don't mess with the king. King James has a habit of embarrassing opponents who try to get in his path. He's absolutely unforgiving when it comes to posterizing players and finishing in style. And while the king has given us a countless number of dunks throughout his highly celebrated career, we think the one against Jason Terry in 2013 was the most ruthless of all. Before telling you how it played out, we think it was a bit unfair to Terry. He was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. It was a 3 versus 1 situation, and even before LeBron threw it down, you could tell Terry realized he was about to be on the highlights tonight. LeBron's teammate has the ball and spots him making his way to the basket. At this point, you can anticipate something serious is going to happen. His teammate throws an alley-oop to an in-air LeBron, who catches it, pushes Jason back with his momentum, and slams it home. And that's not all. When the king finally lands back on earth, he stares down at Terry, who's lying on the floor, wondering what just happened. Afterward, you can see James making his way to the other end of the court, acting super casual, like it wasn't even a big deal. Moving on, the disrespect is big. Timofey Mozgov is an absolute giant. He's over 7 feet tall, and dunking on someone like him is nothing less than impossible. But when you're Blake Griffin, height doesn't really matter. If you ask us, we think this was probably one of the most disrespectful dunks of all time. Griffin literally flew in the air, grabbed Timofey's face, and slammed a horrific dunk to silence the entire arena. Mozgov didn't even react to it because he knew what happened. The Russian knew he got posterized, and it's best to keep your head down and move on. As for Blake, he enjoyed every second of that moment. We won't say he stared down at Timofey because he's much shorter than him, but he locked eyes to show him who's boss. The bench was ecstatic with what Griffin had just done. This dunk was probably the most talked about thing in the NBA in 2010. Blake also threw an extremely similar dunk on Kendrick Perkins as well, who was a solid contender for the dunk of the year. Honestly speaking, both men haven't been right since Griffin did that to them. Now, for the one and only Shaquille O'Neal. What do you do when you have no timeouts left? Easy, you get the ball to Shaq. Now, a lot of you would have probably been wondering, what's a slam dunk video without the man himself? Don't worry, fam, we got you. Let's take you back to 1993. The New Jersey Nets and Orlando Magic are going back and forth in a very intense matchup. Out of nowhere, Shaq throws down a dunk, bringing the entire basket down with him. And what's interesting is that he actually destroyed the hydraulic system holding up the entire board. The Nets were just standing there staring at the basket in absolute disbelief, while Shaq just casually walked off the court as if nothing had happened. The 4-time NBA superstar continued to bring down baskets in the years to come, terrorizing teams, until the league finally decided to make the backboard Shaq-proof. Another really memorable dunk of his career was when he posterized David Robinson with a one-handed dunk, almost bringing down the board on this occasion too. Up next, peak athleticism. If we're talking about the most athletic and agile basketball players of all time, Vince Carter easily tops the list. It's no surprise why this guy was called called Air Canada during his time with the Toronto Raptors. He's given us some of the most iconic dunks of all time, including his signature windmill slam. But his throwdown against Alonzo Mourning is the best one of all. And yeah, you might be wondering how such a simple dunk got a spot in this video, but just hear us out for a second. Alonzo and Carter literally collided in the air. They bumped into each other, killing Carter's momentum and making it almost impossible for him to dunk. But this is peak athleticism we're talking about. Despite being stopped mid-air, Vinsanity still managed to throw it down with just one hand. He also gave a whole new meaning to his opponent's name, since Alonzo would have definitely been mourning after that one. Now, for keeping the tradition alive. Vince Carter may have been the pioneer of the windmill slam, but Gerald Green just took it to a new level. Now, performing a windmill itself is extremely difficult. Just being able to do a 360 with your arm while being suspended in the air sounds impossible to us. But Green completely changed all that while keeping the tradition of the windmill alive. Gerald and his team are on a breakaway, aggressively making their way to the basket. When they're just a couple of feet away from the board, his teammates lob it up, with Green catching the ball mid-air and doing a windmill before dumping it straight into the basket. After seeing Gerald do the near impossible, the commentators went silent, and even the Houston bench was blown away by his crazy skill. You know it's real when not even your opponents can keep it together. Following up with an absolute banger. DeAndre Jordan didn't just break the internet, but he almost broke Brandon Knight's back as well, after almost ending his career with a jaw-dropping dunk. Credit to Brandon for thinking he could have actually blocked Jordan, but still, we're glad he didn't get hurt because he's tiny compared to him. DeAndre flew like Superman to slam the ball home, causing Knight to fall straight on his back. The best part about this dunk was that even Jordan was impressed with what he did. The camera caught him making a surprised face like, "How did I even do that?" Brandon had to be lifted by two of his teammates, and we don't think he got hurt or anything. He was probably just too embarrassed to get back up. Imagine being Brandon Knight knowing this moment is your career highlight. Finally, sit back down, homie. We have saved the best for last, ladies and gentlemen. It's none other than Chicago's very own Scottie Pippen. This disrespect was just crazy. Scottie dunked on Patrick Ewing like he was an NPC. Seriously, he didn't even acknowledge his existence. He dunked on him and stood right over him, laughing at how he just got Ewing to fall flat on his butt. What made this dunk even more memorable was that all of Patrick's teammates were so furious at how Scottie just walked over him that they all tried to get a piece of him. Pippen casually walked it off, chewing his gum and just laughing at how he had violated an entire team with a single dunk. Spike Lee even got up from the bench to have a word, but Scottie told him to sit right back down, igniting the crowd even more. Honestly, Patrick should have probably changed his name from Ewing to You Win after that dunk, since there's no coming back from something like that. But still, we've never seen him back down ever, so credit to him for always being up for the challenge. That's it from our side, folks. So what do you think? What dunk is the best of all time? And did we forget to include something crazy in our video? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe for more entertaining content in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.